Woo! What a weekend. What is up, Rocket League people? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports talk. Every single week, going to be breaking down RLCS, which this past weekend was technically weekend number 1. But alongside all of that, first off, before we get into actual results out there, what an amazing time to be a Rocket League fan as well. Viewership, by the way, generally coming in, at least when we see the high point of numbers out there. For anyone curious, numbers are still looking amazing for Rocket League, if not already improving from this past amazing season. And with that as well, we also have them beating out Call of Duty. At most times, Rocket League viewership was nearly double that of what COD viewership was, and even beating out Overwatch as well. Rocket League is off to an amazing start. Also, for any of you out there who are new viewers as well, as we break down weekly results, I'm going to kind of touch on the storylines, more of the drama, and also throw the results in there as well. When it comes time for predicting Rocket League, it is one of the hardest, if not in my opinion, the hardest esports out there to predict, especially now through these early weeks as teams will only be playing a series. It's super, super tough, especially when we make all these roster changes every single season. I've tried to predict Rocket League in the past, and it's just so utterly difficult with all these uprising youth through the Rivals series as well. And I think North America this past weekend just proved that point to the exact T. Now, we do have a lot of our teams coming away with just one victory as we expect. When it comes for North America, though, it did not come easy for a lot of teams out there. And by the way, opening series, who could have asked for a better one? That being Flight losing a reverse sweep to the Pittsburgh Knights. And it already sparks my main point out there. Even the drama, even the beef via Rocket League pros out there is obviously joking. And so I can't really talk too much about the trash talk because even when you lose a reverse sweep, you're still joking about it. Or even when you win one, you don't really mean the trash talk you have. Either way, a great opening series, and followed up, by the way, I would say, obviously, of week 1 RLCS between NA and EU, the biggest upset we've seen so far, that being eUnited taking down Cloud9 in 3-0 fashion. Besides Game 3 being utterly close, it wasn't a close series, and eUnited, largely ranked in close to the bottom half of these rankings, take down Cloud, And just further proving my point of all of these rival series teams, upcoming talent, you make one change to your roster, you can really progress so far in a game like Rocket League. Yeah, then you have Sonics taking NRG to a Game 5, which is incredible. And they got that matchup out of the way. I expect a lot of things out of them, and an MVP like Shock, the way he performed during that series was utterly, utterly dominant for that roster and that trio, who, by the way, if you can compete with NRG, we hope to see you on LAN finals as well. And I'll say very lastly, G2, they take their win. On top of that, some going back and forth. For anyone curious about this Twitter banter, it was actually al0t just not too long ago. He's a great personality on Twitter. He was talking about buying OG's entire roster. He makes a lot of statements about having a lot of money, as he should. I really love his personality, especially when it comes to Twitter, and so that's what that reference was to as well. When in doubt, just buy the team. G2 do get their win as well. Not too many upsets when it comes time for North America, but enough, and definitely enough close series to actually make things super interesting heading into week 2. Now, I will say even furtherly less, I would say, upsets come to the European side of things, but still some great performances out of many out there. But the storyline, the headline for me has to be a guy like Flakes. Gosh dang, do I love a guy who can take a risk, have some fun, and a new member to FCB as well, closing out that roster. They take their win, and he does so with the Scarab, which is it's the funniest and most outlandish thing. And also, it maybe worries people out there who want him to try and be competitive. But if you take a win with a Scarab, why not keep it up? And it's the first time that I have ever seen that as well. Yes, he takes an RLCS match win on that new car, which, again, I love it. And again, to add on to that, the biggest loss of Europe this week was probably TSM, but you lose to a pretty solid roster. Still, it's only week 1 and still very early on in this now extended season for our Rocket League Championship Series. But still, the storyline for me has to be new car, new win over in EU. And speaking of EU, the biggest storyline for NA was eUnited taking down Cloud9 as well. What did you guys think? Again, closeout standings as well. We're only 1 week, 1 series in for all of these teams out there, so you can't take too much away. But still, when it comes time for viewership, storylines and drama may be a bit lacking because Rocket League pros are a bit too nice. But when it comes time for upsets, some close series, some great moves out there, certainly still a great and impressive week 1. Now, very lastly as well, for any rival series fans out there, I would say a bit sadly, and a lot of news for a lot of pros you once saw in RLCS, unfortunately not moving on. Some did. Of course, we had our rival series qualifiers this past weekend as well. It solidified those final teams through the play-in bracket, and I don't know. It sucks to see a lot of these stories. al0t and his brand new trio supposedly not making it. By the way, went to the 7th place tiebreaker for that last play-in spot. According to al0t, it was apparently some server troubles when they were going to score a goal to actually take the series. That series evidently goes to a final game as well. It's just a super close series, and it would suck, according to their words, if they did cost themselves a chance at rival series because of Psyonix's server issues, which we have seen a lot over the past week. Unironically, when I say a lot, so that just really sucks. You know, these players out there, especially rising talent, even al0t with a brand new trio, right? After being replaced on that former roster, and now to spend 4 months to try and qualify, to have it come down to something that was not his own issue. That's super, super sucky, and that should not be happening. In other side news as well, from the European qualifiers for Rival Series, we will not be seeing Classics return anytime soon, it seems. His new trio with the Randy Gibbons River Rats, they fall just short, alongside a guy like Maestro as well. I believe he played for the Danish Dynamite. It's wild to see as well. You know, 3 to 4 seasons ago, when I first started covering Rocket League, Maestro, to me, was still one of the best talents in the game. He will not even be in Rival Series this upcoming season. And when it comes time for NA, it's good to see WDG still have that name going forward, being represented by people like G Reezy. They will be in Rival Series and looked pretty solid throughout their qualifiers as well. Again, end of the day, that just cannot be an issue. When you have teams out there and these players actually spending months and months of pracs and scrims to actually get to Rival Series, which again, we've seen so many Rival Series teams actually rise to the ranks to RLCS. When you have server issues cut you short of that opportunity, it's sucky to see, and hopefully it will be fixed going forward. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? As always, all of you Rocket League fans, my DMs are always open. If you guys have a story you want me to cover, I will gladly cover it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll be back here soon.